Hey everyone, so I wanted to speak for a minute about this section here. And as you can see, this is a sample question. Here are the embedded comments, which you can access in the lesson introduction section. Just click on the Word document and the comments should pop up. If you're ever having an issue, you could always go to the review section here and then just click Final Showing Markup and the comments should show up just fine. So when you look at this section, if you look at the comments, you see that there's a step-by-step process. It's blank for students, but you have a key. First step is read the question carefully. Thinking it said, for example, finding the youngest layer when it actually said or asked for finding the oldest layer. That was something that I noticed that some students on a previous assessment many years ago actually had an issue with this problem concerning. So I think it's really important that when you do problems, you have the students read it carefully. Oftentimes, and it's okay if they don't get it the first time, they need to read the question at least twice, especially if they don't understand it. I can't tell you how many times I've walked up, some student has done like, hey, I don't get it, I'm struggling. And then all I do is I read the question out loud to them. And like, quite honestly, like 66% of the time, 2/3, they are like, oh, okay. So oftentimes that's really like a really big and important step is just read the problem over again until you really understand what it's asking you. And that leads into the second one, which is just, I ask myself, like, hey, what is this question actually asking me to do? So in this case, sample 2, the bedrock located in your Old Forge, New York would most likely have which characteristics? So, and then it has different characteristics here. So basically what it's asking me to do is look for Old Forge, New York on a map, probably on my reference table, and look at what rock type is it. So foliated, clastic, non-crystalline, crystalline, those are features of either sedimentary, metamorphic, or igneous rocks. So I need to be able to look on my map and figure that out. And if you look on your reference table, you should be able to see that there is a map that pops up. I'll show you briefly. If I scroll down to this page, you can see that this is the map of New York State, and it has Old Forge, New York right here, where my mouse is. And you can see if I consult my key over here, that is a Middle Proterozoic sort of rock. So in this case, it's gneiss, quartzite, and marble. So that tells me if I like checked on my reference table, if I need to check, I can check on page 7, quartzite, marble. So this is a metamorphic rock. So in that case, I just used my reference table, the map and the key in my reference table to figure out what I needed to do. So that's really critical. And then if yes, find the information in the reference table that proves your answer. I just did that. As you can see, I very quickly showed you where in the reference table to exactly look. And then you can use your reference table, your question, clues, or knowledge to provide evidence either for or against each answer choice. So in this case, foliated texture with mica and feldspar separated into bands. That's actually the correct answer because metamorphic rocks have foliated texture. You can see that there's foliation. If I were to go back to my reference table, you can see that mica and feldspar are part of the composition of metamorphic rocks. Clastic texture is a feature of sedimentary rocks, which is in your reference table. Non-crystalline glassy texture is a feature of igneous rocks, which is on page 6 of the reference table. And crystalline texture composed primarily of gypsum, well, that's a feature of the sedimentary rock gypsum, which is also in my reference table. So all of these are features and components of things that are in your reference table. So ultimately, the big issue I see here is making sure students are very careful and meticulous in using the reference table whenever they see questions like this. The biggest error I see in the entire course when students get answers wrong is it's because they don't use their reference tables when they should. So this is a way to really help reinforce that idea. Thanks so much.